chapter 88, liberation and material opulence. King Parikshit, being already liberated as a great devotee of Krishna, was asking various questions from Sukadeva Goswami to clarify the whole matter. In the previous chapter, King Parikshit's question was, what is the ultimate goal of the Vedas? And Sukadeva Goswami explained to him about the ultimate goal of Vedas, taking authoritative description beginning from Sananda down to Narayan Rishi and Narada, disciplic succession to Bhaktivedanta and then to Sukadeva Goswami himself. The conclusion arrived as devotional service or bhakti is the ultimate goal of the Vedas. Now, a neophyte devotee may question if the ultimate goal of life or the conclusion of the Vedas is to elevate oneself on the platform of devotional service, then why it is so observed that a devotee of Lord Vishnu is generally not very much materially prosperous, whereas a devotee of Lord Shiva is found to be very much materially opulent. In order to clarify this matter, Parikshit Maharaj inquired from Sukadeva Goswami as follows. In quotation, my dear Sukadeva Goswami, it is generally found that all living entities, including the human society, on the inquiry of King Parikshit about the contradictory action in the matter of worshipping Lord Shiva and Lord Vishnu, Sukadeva Goswami replied that Lord Shiva is a master of this material energy. Material energy is represented by Goddess Durga, and Lord Shiva happens to be her husband. Goddess Durga being completely under subjugation of Lord Shiva, it is to be understood that Lord Shiva is the master of this material energy. The material energy is manifested in three qualities, namely goodness, passion, and ignorance. Under the circumstances, Lord Shiva is also a master of these three qualities. Although he is in association with these three qualities for the benefit of the conditioned soul, he is the director, but he is not affected. The conditioned soul is affected by the three qualities. But Lord Shiva himself is not affected, but he is disposer of these three qualities. In this statement of Sukadeva Goswami, we can understand that the effects of worshipping different demigods are not always one and the same as some less intelligent class of men. Suppose here it is clearly stated that by worshipping Lord Shiva, one achieves a different reward, whereas by worshipping Lord Vishnu, one achieves a different effect. In the Bhagavad-gītā also this is confirmed, that those who are worshipping different demigods, they will achieve the desired result, which is possible to be avoided by such demigods. And similarly, those who are worshipping material energy, they will receive reward of such activities. Similarly, those who are worshipping the Pitris, they will also receive similar results. But one who is engaged in devotional service or worship of the Supreme Lord, Vishnu or Krishna, they go to the Vaikuntha or Krishna Loka. It is not that by worshipping Lord Shiva or Brahma or any other demigod, one can approach the transcendental region or Parabrahma or the spiritual sky. This material world, being product of the three qualities of material nature, there are varieties of manifestation. Just as in a modern civilization, by the aid of materialistic science, people have created so many machines and comforts of life, but they are only varieties of the interaction of three material qualities. When a devotee of Lord Shiva is able to acquire all this material acquisition, we should know that they are simply collecting things manufactured by the three qualities. The three qualities are again subdivided into 16, namely the 10 senses, namely 5 working senses and 5 knowledge acquiring senses, and the mind, altogether 11, and the 5 elements, namely earth, water, air, fire, sky. These 16 items are further extension of the three qualities. Material happiness or opulence means sense gratification, specifically the genitals, the tongue and the mind. By exercising our mind, we are creating so many pleasurable things for enjoyment by the genitals and the tongue. When I think of an opulent person who is in this material world, we estimate the value in terms of its exercise of the genital and the tongue. Or in other words, how one is able to utilize his sexual capacities and how one is able to eat nice, palatable dishes according to one's fastidiousness. Material advancement of civilization means that they are creating by mental concoction so many things just to become happy based on these two principles, namely pleasurable things for the genital and pleasurable things for the tongue. Therefore the question of King Parikshit to Sukadeva Goswami, why the devotees or worshippers Lord Shiva are so opulent. They are so-called opulent by the material quality. Actually, such advanced civilization is the cause of entanglement in material existence. Actually, they are not advancement, they are degradation. Therefore, the conclusion is that because Lord Shiva is the master of the three qualities, so things manufactured by the interaction of these three qualities for satisfaction of senses are given to the devotee. The Bhagavad-gītā, however, we get instruction from Lord Krishna that one has to transcend the qualitative existence. Nistraygunna bhavarjuna. Nistraygunna, transcendental to the three qualities. That is the mission of human life. Without being Nistraygunna, nobody can get free from material entanglement. In other words, favors received from Lord Shiva are not actually beneficial to the conditioned soul, although apparently such environment seems to be materially opulent. That's why Sukadeva Goswami continued to say, within quotation, the Supreme Personality Godhead, Hari, is, however, transcendental, the three qualities of material nature. Or in other words, as it is stated in the Bhagavad-gītā, that anyone who surrenders unto him surpasses the control of the three qualities of material nature. When Hari, a devotee, is transcendental to the control of the three material qualities, what to speak of him. It is stated therefore in the ЩrīmadBhāgavatam that Hari or Krishna is the original Supreme Personality. There are two kinds of prakriti or nature or potency, namely the internal potency and the external potency, and Krishna is overlord of all these prakriti or potencies. He is a Sarvadrik, or the overseer of all the actions of internal potency and external potency. Not only that, he is described as Upadrashta, or the supreme advisor. Being the supreme advisor, he is above all demigods who follows the direction of the supreme advisor. As such, if one directly follows the instruction of the Supreme Lord, as it is inculcated in the Bhagavad-gītā or ЩrīmadBhāgavatam, then naturally the follower of such instruction gradually becomes nirguna, or above the interaction of the material quality. To become nirguna means to be bereft of material opulences, because as we have explained above, material opulence means increase of actions and reactions of the three material qualities. So by worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one, instead of becoming puffed up with material opulences, he becomes enriched with spiritual advancement of knowledge in Krishna Consciousness. To become nirguna means to achieve eternal peace, fearlessness, and this in religious activity full of knowledge, renunciation. All these are symptoms of becoming nirguna, or free from the contamination of material quality. Next verse. Sukadeva Goswami, in this connection, cited the instance of history about Parikshit Maharaj's grandfather, King Yudhishthira. He said that King Yudhishthira, after finishing the consummate sacrifice in the great sacrificial arena and in the presence of great authorities, inquired that very question, namely, while the devotees of Lord Shiva becomes materially opulent, whereas the devotees of Lord Vishnu are not like that. Sukadeva Goswami specifically said that your grandfather, so that he would be encouraged that Krishna had some family relation with their family, and his grandfathers were very much intimately connected with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When this question was asked by Maharaj Yudhishthira, Krishna, although he is very satisfied always by nature, he became still more satisfied on the inquiry of King Yudhishthira, because his question and the answer of the Supreme Personality of Godhead would bear a great meaning for the whole Krishna conscious society. Whenever Lord Krishna speaks something to his specified devotee, it is not only meant for the devotee, but it is meant for the whole human society. That instruction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is equally important to the demigods, headed by Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and others. The Supreme Personality of Godhead descends within this world for such a beneficial work for all living entities. Anyone who does not take advantage of the instruction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is certainly very much unfortunate. So Lord Krishna answered the question of Maharaj Yudhishthira as follows. Anyone who is favored by me, and I take special care for such devotee, the first business in dealing with him is that I take away the riches of such devotee. In this way, when the devotee becomes penniless pauper, or put into comparatively poverty-stricken position, at that time his relatives and family members do not take any more interest in him, and in most cases they give up their connection. The devotee becomes doubly unhappy. First of all, he becomes unhappy on account of his riches being taken away by Krishna, and another unhappiness is that on account of his poverty-stricken position, his relatives also desert from his connection. We should have a note in this connection that the devotee fallen into miserable condition in such a way is not due to his past impious activity or as karma form. This poverty is taken position of the devotee is a creation of the personality of Godhead. Similarly, a devotee, when he becomes materially opulent, that is also not due to his pious activity. In both the cases, either the devotee becomes poorer or the devotee becomes richer. The arrangement is made by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This arrangement is specially made by Krishna for his devotee just to make him completely dependent upon him, or being freed from all material obligations. He can concentrate his energies, mind, body, everything for the service of the Lord, and that is a pure devotional service. In the Narad Pancharatra, it is explained therefore, Sarvopadhi Vinirmuktam. Sarvopadhi Vinirmuktam means being freed from all designation. So long one works for the family, for the society, for the community, for the nation, or for the humanity, they are all work in designation. I belong to this society, I belong to this community, I belong to this nation, or I belong to this species of life. They are all different designations only. So by the grace of the Lord, when a devotee becomes free from all these designations, his devotional service is actually noiskarma. Jnanis are very much attracted by this position of noiskarma, which means that your action will have no more any effect. So the devotee's action being free from effect, it is not under the category of karma phala or fruitive activity, as it is explained before in the words of personified Vedas, that unhappiness and distress of a devotee is produced by the personality of Godhead for the devotee, and the devotee therefore does not care whether he is in happiness or he is in distress. He goes on with his duties of executing devotional service. The idea is that although he seems to be under the action and reaction of fruitive activities, he is freed from such resultant action of designation. It may be questioned in this connection that why the devotee is put into such tribulation by the personality of Godhead. The answer is, this kind of arrangement by the personality of Godhead is just like the father becomes sometimes unkind to his son. The devotee, being a surrendered soul and taken charge by the Supreme Lord, whenever he puts him in any condition of life, distress or happiness, it is to be understood that there is a big plan behind this arrangement made by the personality of Godhead. For example, by such arrangement, Lord Krishna put the Pandavas in distress condition, and the distress was so much acute that even grandfather Bhishma could not estimate how such thing could happen. He lamented the condition of the Pandavas, that the whole family was headed by King Yudhishthira, the most pious king, and protected by two great warriors like Bhima or Arjuna, and from all, they were all intimate friends and relatives of Lord Krishna, and still they had to undergo such tribulation. But later on, it was proved that such plan was made by the Supreme Personality of Hare Krishna to execute his great mission, namely annihilating these miscreants and protecting the devotee. In this connection, a question may be raised that if the devotee is also subjected to different kinds of conditions, happiness or distress by the arrangement of the personality of Godhead, and if a common man is put into such condition as resultant action of his past deeds, then what is the difference? In which way the devotee is better than the ordinary karmi? The answer is that they are not one and the same. But the karmi is, in whatever condition of life he may be, it continues birth after birth, because the seed of karma or fruitive activity is there, and it fructifies whenever there is opportunity. That means, in the law of karma, a common man is perpetually entangled in the repeated birth and death, whereas the devotee's distress and happiness, not being under the laws of karma, is temporary arrangement by the Supreme Lord, without any entanglement by the devotee. Such arrangement is made by the Lord to serve a temporary purpose only. For a karmi, when he acts something auspicious, he is elevated to the heavenly planets, and if he acts impiously, he is put into the hellish condition of life. But a devotee, either he acts in so-called pious or impious position, he is neither elevated or degraded, but he is transferred to the spiritual kingdom. Therefore, a devotee's happiness and distress and a karmi's happiness and distress are not on the same level. This fact is corroborated by the speech of Jamaraj to his servant in connection with liberation of Ajami. He advised to his followers that persons who had never uttered the holy name of the Lord, neither he has ever remembered the form, quality, pastimes of the Lord, such persons should be approached by the watchwords of Jamaraj. Jamaraj also advised that for the devotees, they should never approach. On the contrary, if they meet sometime a devotee, they should offer their respectful obeisance. So, there is no question of devotees being promoted or degraded within this material world, as there is gulf of difference between the punishment awarded by the mother and the punishment by an enemy. Similarly, a devotee's distress condition is not the same as the distress condition of a common karmi. Here, another question may be raised that God is all-powerful, why he should try to reform his devotee, putting him into distress condition of life? The answer is that when the Supreme Personality of Godhead puts his devotee in such distress condition of life, it is not without purpose. Sometimes the purpose is that in such distress condition, a devotee's feeling and attachment for Krishna becomes magnified. The evidence is Kunti. When Krishna was leaving the capital of the Pandavas for his home, and when he was taking permission from Kunti Devi for going back to home, Kunti Devi said, "Dear Krishna, in our distress condition, you are always present with us. Now, because we have been elevated to the position of royal order, you are leaving us. I would therefore prefer such distress condition of life instead of losing you." So, in the distress condition of a devotee, his devotional activities become accelerated. Therefore, the Lord, to show a special favor to the devotee, he puts him sometimes in the distress condition. Besides that, it is stated that the sweetness of happiness is sweet to those who have tasted the bitterness of it. The Supreme Lord descends on this material world just to protect his devotees from distress condition. In other words, if the devotee is not into distress condition, the Lord would not have come down. So far, he is killing the demons or the miscreants. He can do it easily by various energies. Just like many asuras are killed by his external energy, goddess Durga. So he does not require to come down to kill such demons, but he has to come down when his devotee is in distress condition. Just like Lord Nrsimhadev appeared not for killing Hiranyakashipu, but to see Prahlad and to give him blessing. In other words, because Prahlad Maharaj was put into so much distress condition, the Lord appeared. Besides that, there is another analogy. Just like after dense dark night, when there is sun rising in the morning, it is very pleasant. When there is scorching heat, cold water is very pleasant. Or when there is suffocating winter, hot water is very pleasant. Similarly, when a devotee, after distress condition of this material world, realizes the spiritual happiness awarded by the Lord, position becomes still more pleasant and enjoyable. Next part, the Lord continued to say, in quotation, my devotee, when he is bereft of all material riches and deserted by his relatives, friends and family members, at that time, because he has nobody to look after him, he completely takes shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. Srila Narottam Thakur has sung in this connection, my dear Lord Krishna, the son of Nanda Maharaj, you are now standing before me along with Srimati Radharani, the daughter of King Vrishabhanu. So, I am sending unto you, please accept me. Please do not kick me away, because I have no other shelter than yourself. Next paragraph. When a devotee is thus put into so-called miserable condition, being bereft of riches and family, first of all, he tries again to revive his original position of material opulence, but again and again he tries, and again Krishna takes all his resources. Thus, at the end, he becomes disappointed in his material activities. Practically, in the stage of frustration from all endeavors, one can fully surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Such devotees are advised by the Lord from within that he may associate with the devotees, and by associating with the devotees, naturally he becomes inclined to render service to the Personality of Godhead, and immediately he gets all facilities from the side of the Lord for advancing in his mode of Krishna consciousness. The non-devotees are very careful about their material condition of life. Generally, such non-devotees do not therefore come to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but they prefer to worship Lord Shiva or any other demigod for immediate material profit. In the Bhagavad-gītā, it is said therefore, Kankantang karmanang siddhim jajante yadevata. It means that the karmis, in order to achieve success within this material world, go to worship different kinds of demigods. In another place, it is also stated by Lord Krishna that those who go to worship other demigods, their intelligence is not pure. The devotees of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, not therefore foolish to go to any other demigod, and on account of their strong attachment for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, without being deterred by any kind of adverse condition of life, remain firm and steady, and thus I give myself to him. Thus he is favored by myself to achieve the highest success of life. LA, tape number 39. Los Angeles, tape number 40. Krishna, chapter 88 continues. The mercy bestowed upon tried devotee by the Supreme Personality of Godhead is described as Brahma, which means that the greatness of the mercy at that time is compared only with the all-pervasive greatness. Brahma means unlimitedly great and unlimitedly expanding. At the same time, it is stated that mercy is paramam. There is no comparison of that mercy within this material world. At the same time, suksham, very fine. That means the mercy upon the tried devotee is not only great and limitedly expansive, but it is of the finest quality, which means transcendental love between the devotee and the Lord. Such mercy is described as chin matram, completely spiritual. The word matram is used, which means absolutely spiritual, in which there is no tinge of material quality. Such mercy is short, eternal, and anantakam, is unlimited. When the devotee of the Lord is awarded such unlimited spiritual benefit, why he should go to worship other demigods? Therefore, a devotee does not go to worship Lord Shiva or Brahma or any other subordinate demigod. They completely devote themselves to the transcendental loving service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sukadeva Goswami continued to say within quotation, except the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, other demigods headed by Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, including Lord Indra, Chandra, Varuna, and various others, they are apt to become very soon satisfied or very soon angry by the good behavior and ill behavior of the devotee. This means within this material world, any living entity, including the demigods, are conducted by the three modes of material nature, and in that way the quality of ignorance and passion are very much prominent within this material world. Therefore, the devotees who take blessings from the demigods are also infected with the material qualities, especially passion and ignorance. Lord Sri Krishna has therefore stated in the Bhagavad-gītā that to take the blessings from the demigods is meant for the less intelligent class of man, and even though they take some benediction from such demigods, the result of such benediction is temporary. Although it is easier to get material opulence by worshipping the demigods, but the result is sometimes disastrous. As such, the benediction derived from demigods is appreciated by less intelligent class of men. Persons who derive benediction from the demigods gradually become puffed up with the material opulence and neglectful even to the benedictor. Sukadeva Goswami addressed the King Parikshit within Kolkata, my dear King, Lord Brahma, Lord Vishnu, Lord Shiva, the principal trio of this material creation, are able to benedict or to curse anyone. Out of this trio, Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva very easily become satisfied, at the same time very easily become angry. When they are satisfied, they give benediction without any consideration, and when they are angry, they curse devotee without any consideration. But Lord Vishnu is not like that. Lord Vishnu is very considerate. Whenever a devotee wants something from Lord Vishnu, he first of all considers whether such kind of benediction will be ultimately good for the devotee. But Vishnu never bestows any benediction which will ultimately prove disastrous to the devotee. He is, by his transcendental nature, always merciful. Therefore, before giving any benediction, he considers whether such benediction will be ultimately good for the devotee. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, being always merciful, even sometimes it appears that he has killed some demon. Such killing or apparently becoming angry upon the devotee is also auspicious for the devotee. Supreme Personality of Godhead is therefore known as all good. Whatever he does is good. So far, the benediction given by demigods like Lord Shiva, there is a historical reference generally cited by great sages, which it is understood that sometimes Lord Shiva, after giving benediction to a demon of the name Brikasur, he himself was entrapped in great dangerous position. This Brikasur was the son of Shakuni. He was searching after some benediction and was thinking of selecting out of the trio whom he would worship and get the benediction. In the meantime, he happened to meet the great sage Narada and consulted him to whom he should approach to achieve quick result of his austerity. He inquired out of the three deities, namely Lord Brahma, Lord Vishnu and Lord Shiva, who is very quickly satisfied. Narada, however, could understand the plan of the demon, and he advised him that you better worship Lord Shiva, and then quickly you will get the desired result. The reason is Lord Shiva is very quickly satisfied, and at the same time he becomes very quickly dissatisfied also. So you try to satisfy Lord Shiva. Narada also gave instances that demons like Ravana and Manasur were enriched by great opulences simply by satisfying Lord Shiva, offering some prayers. The great sage Narada was aware of the nature of the demon Brikasur. Therefore, he did not advise him to approach Vishnu or Lord Brahma, as it will appear from the next verse that Brikasur was existing in the modes of material nature of ignorance. Such person cannot stick to the worship of Vishnu. So after receiving instruction from Narada, the demon Brikasur went to Kedarnath. This Kedarnath pilgrimage is still existing near Kashmir. It is almost always covered by snow, but in some part of the year, during the month of July, there is some facility to see the deity, and devotees go there to offer their respects. This place, a pilgrimage known as Kedarnath, is the place for the devotees of the Lord Shiva. According to Vedic principle, when something is offered to the deities for eating, it is offered to the fire. Therefore, fire sacrifice is necessary in all sorts of ceremonies. It is specially stated in the Shastras that gods are to be offered something for eating through the fire. So, this demon Brikasur went to Kedarnath and ignited fire for making sacrifice to please Lord Shiva. After igniting fire there, in the name of Shiva, he began to offer his own flesh, cutting from the body, just to please Lord Shiva. Here is an instance of worshipping in the modes of ignorance. In the Bhagavad-gītā, there are different types of sacrifices. Some of the sacrifices are in the modes of goodness, some of the sacrifices are in the modes of passion, and some of them are in the modes of ignorance. There are different kinds of tapasas and worships because there are different kinds of people within this world. But the ultimate tapasa or Krishna consciousness is the topmost yoga, topmost sacrifice, as there confirmed in the Bhagavad-gītā. Topmost yoga is to think of Lord Krishna always within the heart, and the topmost sacrifice is performing the Sankirtan Yajna. In the Bhagavad-gītā, it is stated that the worshippers of the demigod are less intelligent or lost of their intelligence. This instance of Brikasur, as it will be revealed in the following chapters, that his ultimate goal to satisfy Lord Shiva was most third-class materialistic objective. Such objective, temporary and without any real benefit. Still, the Asuras, or the persons in the modes of ignorance, will accept such kind of benediction from the demigods. And in complete contrast with this sacrifice in the modes of ignorance, there is Archan Vidhi of Lord Vishnu, or the worshipping process for Lord Vishnu or Krishna is very simple. Lord Krishna says in the Bhagavad-gītā that he accepts from his devotee even a little fruit, little flour, little water, which can be gathered by any person who are rich. Of course, those who are rich, they are not expected to offer a little water or little piece of fruit or little piece of a leaf to the Lord. A rich man should offer according to his position. But the Lord wants the lowest possible things if the devotee happens to be a very poor man. Anyway, the worship of Lord Vishnu or Krishna is very simple and can be executed by any man within this world. But in the worship in the modes of ignorance, as it is executed by the Brikasur, is not only very difficult and painful, but also they are useless waste of time. Therefore, Bhagavad-gītā says that the worshippers of the demigods are lost of intelligence, because the process of worship is very, very difficult. At the same time, the result of that is flickering and temporary. The Brikasur continued his sacrifice for 6 days. But still, he was unable to see personally Lord Shiva, which was his objective, because he wanted to see him face to face and ask him for the benediction. Here is another contrast between a demon and a devotee. A devotee is confident that whatever he is offering to the deity in full devotional service is being accepted by the Lord. But a demon wants to see face to face his worshipable deity so that he can directly take the benediction. Devotee, however, does not worship Vishnu or Lord Krishna for any benediction. Therefore, devotee is called akama, and a non-devotee is called sarvakama, or wanting everything. On the 7th day, the demon Brikasur decided that he should offer his head, cutting off from the body to satisfy Lord Shiva. Thus he took bath in the nearby lake and without drying the body and the hair, he kept himself wet and wanted to cut off his head, for which he prepared himself. According to Vedic system, an animal which is to be offered as sacrifice has to be bathed first, and while the animal is wet, he is satisfied. When the demon was thus prepared to cut off his head, Lord Shiva became very much compassionate. This compassion is a symptom of the quality of goodness. Lord Shiva is called Trilanga. Therefore, his manifestation of the nature of compassion is the sign of the quality of goodness. This compassion is, however, present in every living entity. Compassion of Lord Shiva was aroused not because the demon was offering his a bodily flesh to the sacrificial fire, but it is quite natural. We also, common man, if we see somebody is prepared to commit suicide, it is the duty even of a common man to try to save him. That is automatically done. There is no need of appealing to a person. Therefore, when Lord Shiva appeared from the fire and to check him from such kind of suicidal policy, it was not very much favored for the demon. The demon was, however, saved from committing suicide by the touch of Lord Shiva, and his injuries on the body immediately became cured, and his body became as it was before. Then Lord Shiva began to address the demon, my dear Brikasu, you do not require to cut off your head. You can ask from me any benediction, whatever is like. I shall fulfill your desire. I do not know why did you prepare yourself to cut off your head to satisfy me. I become satisfied even by offering of a little water. Actually, according to Vedic process, the Shivalinga in the temple, or the form of Lord Shiva in the temple, is worshipped simply by offering Ganges water, because it is said that Lord Shiva is very much satisfied when Ganges water is poured upon his head. Generally, devotees, they offer Ganges water and the leaves of billa tree. This billa tree is especially meant for offering the leaves to Lord Shiva and Goddess Durga. The fruit of this tree also offered to Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva therefore assured him that he is satisfied with the simple process of worship, why he so much anxious to cut off his head, and why he was taking so much pain by cutting his body into pieces and offering in the fire. There was no need of such severe type of penances. Anyway, out of compassion and sympathy, Lord Shiva was prepared to give him any benediction he liked. Later, when the demon was offered by Lord Shiva such facility, he asked some benediction which is very, very fearful and abominable to be asked from Lord Shiva. This demon was very, very sinful, and such a sinful person do not know what sort of benediction has to be asked from the deity. He asked the favor of Lord Shiva to be benedicted by the power that as soon as he would touch anyone's head, immediately the man's head will fall down or will be cracked and the man will die. The demons are therefore described in the Bhagavad Gita as duskritina. It means miscreants. Priti means very meritorious, but added with dus, abominable. So these duskritas are the miscreants. Instead of surrendering unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, worship different kinds of demigods to derive some material benefit which are abominable. Sometimes such demons, material scientists, also discover some leather weapon for killing. They cannot show the power of their merit for discovering something which can save the man from death, but they can discover some weapon which can accelerate the process of death. So this demon could have asked from Lord Shiva, because Shiva is also powerful to give any benediction. So instead of asking from him something beneficial to the human society, for his personal interest, he asked that anyone whose head would be touched by his hand be killed at once. Lord Shiva, however, could understand the motive of the demon, and he was very sorry that he had given assurance to the demon to offer him any benediction he liked. He could not withdraw his promise, but he was very sorry in his heart that he was to offer him some benediction which is so much dangerous to the human society. The demons are therefore described in the Bhagavad Gita as duskritina, which means miscreants. They have got brain, they have got merit, but the merit and brain is used for abominable activities. Just like sometimes the materialistic demon discovers some leather weapon for killing man. So this discovery, scientific research, requires certainly very good brain to work on. But instead of discovering something beneficial to the human society, they discover something to accelerate the death which is already assured to every man. Similarly, this demon, instead of asking benediction from Lord Shiva, something beneficial to the human society, he asked, which is very dangerous to the human society. Therefore, Lord Shiva was very sorry within himself. Devotees, however, never asked any benediction from Lord Vishnu or Krishna. And even they ask something from the Lord that is not at all dangerous for the human society. That is the contrast between the demon and the devotee, or the worshipper of Lord Shiva and the worshipper of Lord Vishnu. While Sukadeva Goswami was narrating the history of this Pikasur, he addressed Maharaj Parikshit as Bharata, referring to the contest of King Parikshit, born in a family of devotees. This Maharaj Parikshit was saved by Lord Krishna while he was in his mother's home. Similarly, he could ask the benediction from Lord Krishna for being saved from the curse of the Brahmin, but he did not ask anything from Krishna for saving himself. The demon, however, wanted to become immortal by killing everyone with the touch of his hand. Lord Shiva could understand it, but because he promised to him to give the benediction, he gave it to him. Next one, the demon, however, being very sinful, immediately conjectured that he would kill Lord Shiva by the same benediction and take away Gauri, Parvati, for his personal enjoyment. The demon immediately wanted to place his hand on the head of Lord Shiva. That Lord Shiva was put into an awkward position because he was in danger by his own benediction to a demon. This is also another instance of misusing the power derived from the demigods by a materialistic devotee. That's why the demon Bhikasura, without waiting for further decision, immediately approached Lord Shiva to place demon's hand on the head of the Lord. Lord Shiva was so much afraid of him that his body became trembled, thus began to flee from land to the sky, from sky to the other planet, till the end of the universal limitation above the higher planetary system. The result was that Lord Shiva began to go away from one place to another, and the demon Bhikasura continued his chasing after him. The predominating deities of other planets like Brahma, Indra, Chandra, and similar other demigods could not find out any way how to save Lord Shiva from the impending danger. Wherever Lord Shiva went, they remained silent. At last Lord Shiva approached Lord Vishnu, who is situated within this universe and the planet known as Kshetra. This Kshetra is a local Vaikuntha planet beyond the jurisdiction of the influence of external energy. Lord Vishnu, in his all-pervasive feature, remains everywhere, but wherever he remains, that is Vaikuntha atmosphere. Just like in the Bhagavad-gītā, it is stated that the Lord remains within the heart of all living entities. As such, the Lord remains within the heart of many low-grade living entities, but that does not mean he remains in that low-grade condition. Wherever he remains, that is transformed into Vaikuntha. So the planet known as Kshetra within this universe is also Vaikuntha Loka. It is said in the Shastras that residential quarter within the forest is in the mode of goodness. Residential quarters in big cities, towns and villages are in the modes of passion, and residential quarters in an atmosphere of four sinful activities wherein indulgence of illicit sex, intoxicants, meat eating and gambling predominate. Such places are in the modes of ignorance. But residential quarters in the temple of the Supreme Lord, Vishnu temple, is Vaikuntha. It doesn't matter where the temple is situated, but the temple itself, wherever it may be, is Vaikuntha. Similarly, the Kshetra planet, although within the material jurisdiction, it is Vaikuntha. In this Kshetra Vaikuntha, at last Lord Shiva entered. This Kshetra planet, great saintly persons who are completely freed from the envious nature of the material world, beyond the jurisdiction of the four principles of material activities, namely religiosity, economic development, sense gratification and liberation. Anyone who enters into that Vaikuntha planet never comes back again to this material world. Lord Narayana is celebrated as a lover of his devotees, and as soon as he understood that Lord Shiva was in a great perplexity, he appeared himself as a brahmachari, and he personally approached Lord Shiva to receive him from a distant place. The Lord appeared as a perfect brahmachari with belt on his waist, sacred thread, the deer skin, brahmachari stick, and beads of Rudra within bracket. These Rudra beads are different from Tulsi beads. Rudra beads are used by the devotees of Lord Shiva. Lord Narayana, in that dress of a brahmachari, when he was standing before, clearing effulgence from his body, were humanity, which attracted not only Lord Shiva, but also the demon Bhikasura. Lord Narayana thus offered his respect and obeisances unto Bhikasura just to attract his sympathy and attention upon him. Thus, checking the demon Brikasur, the Lord began to address him as follows. My dear son of Shakuni, you appear to be very much tired, as if coming from a very distant place. What is your purpose? Why you have come so far away? I see you are very much fatigued and tired, so I request you take a little rest. You should not put your body unnecessarily into such tiresome condition. Everybody has got a great value for this body, because with this body only we can fulfill all the desires of our mind. We should not therefore unnecessarily give trouble to this body. Lord Narayana addressed the Brikasur demon as the son of Shakuni, just to convince him that the brahmachari was known to his father, Shakuni. Thus Brikasur took the brahmachari as somebody known to his family. And the brahmachari's sympathetic words appealed to him. Before the demon could argue that he had no time to take rest, the Lord began to inform him about the importance of the body. The demon was convinced with the argument of the brahmachari. The body of any man is very important, and what to speak of the body of the demon, which was so important. Thus the demon became convinced about the importance of his body. When the brahmachari asked the demon, my dear Lord, just to pacify him, if you think that you can disclose your mind about your mission for which you have taken so much trouble to come here, maybe I shall be able to help you so that your purpose will be easily served. Immediately the Lord informed him that the Lord being supreme, Brahman, certainly he would be able to adjust things which have been created by Lord Shiva for his indiscriminate benediction upon a demon. Demon, thus being very much pacified by the sweet words of Lord Narayana in the form of a brahmachari, that demon disclosed all that had happened before in respect of his benediction offered by Lord Shiva. This the Lord replied to the demon as follows. If Lord Shiva has given you such a benediction, then at least for myself I cannot believe that it is a truth. So far I know that Lord Shiva is not in sane condition of his mind. Since there was a quarrel between his father-in-law, Dukha, he has been cursed to become a pisach, within brackets ghost. Thus he has become the leader of the ghosts and hobgoblins. Therefore I cannot put any faith in his words, my dear king of the demons. But if you have still any faith on the words of Lord Shiva, then why don't you make an experiment by keeping your hand on your head? If it however proves false, then you can immediately kill this liar, Lord Shiva, so that in future he will not dare not giving false benediction. The demon Brikasur, in this way, by the sweet words and expansion of a superior illusion, the demon became bewildered, and he actually forgot the power of Lord Shiva and his benediction, and thus he very easily put his hand on his own head. And as soon as he placed his hand on his own head, it appeared that the head became cracked as if by the thunderstruck, and the demon immediately died. On this, the demigods from the heaven began to shower flowers on Lord Narayan, praising him with all glories and all kinds of thanksgiving and obeisances were offered to the Lord. On the death of Brikasur, all the denizens in the higher planetary system, namely the demigods, the Pitris, the Gandharvas, the inhabitants of Janaloka, began to shower flowers on the personality of Godhead. Thus, Lord Vishnu, in the form of a brahmachari, saved the whole situation, and Lord Shiva became released from the impending danger. Then Lord Narayana informed Lord Shiva that this sinful demon is killed by the result of his sinful activities. His sinful activities was a special strength on his offense that he wanted to make experiments on his master, Lord Shiva. Lord Narayana then addressed Lord Shiva, my dear Lord, a person who commits offense on great souls cannot exist. He becomes vanquished by his own sinful activities. And what to speak of this demon who has committed so much offensive acts against you. Thus, anyone who hears about this liberation of Lord Shiva from being killed by the demon, by the grace of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana, who is transcendental, all material qualities. Anyone who hears this history, faith and devotion, becomes liberated from this material entanglement as well as from the clique of his enemies. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purpose of 80th chapter, Krishna, deliverance of Lord Shiva.